All right, let's talk about one of the wildest, most jaw-dropping moments to come out of the tech world this year. Seriously, it's a story that has everything. A hot mic, a US president, and a number so unbelievably huge it basically broke the internet.
So it all starts with these exact words. This is the whisper. The thing that was never supposed to be heard, caught on a live microphone. It's Mark Zuckerberg talking to Donald Trump just seconds after making this gigantic public promise. And this one little confession, it sent the market into a tailspin and the internet into a meme frenzy.
And this is the number at the center of it all. $600 billion. A promise so colossal, so out there, that when the truth behind it slipped out, it caused both total panic on Wall Street and, honestly, some of the funniest memes I've seen all year.
Okay, so let's get right into the moment itself. How on earth did a private whisper between two of the most powerful men in the world become what so many people are calling the most public, cringeworthy CEO moment of the year?
And look, this wasn't just some awkward little slip-up. This confession had immediate, real-world consequences. We're talking investors freaking out, the stock taking a nosedive, and social media just exploding with questions about how the biggest decisions in tech are actually being made.
Now, what's so fascinating here is the context. To really get how this happened, you got to rewind a little bit. Let's set the scene, because this all went down at a very high-stakes White House dinner.
So just picture this, right? Mark Zuckerberg is at this formal tech dinner, sitting right next to the president. He gets up and makes this huge, bold announcement that Meta is going to invest at least $600 billion through 28 in the US. I mean, wow. Then, literally seconds later, he leans over and whispers that he basically just pulled the number out of thin air and asks what figure Trump wanted him to go with. It's an absolutely incredible switch from public power move to private panic.
So here's the thing. That number, that $600 billion, it doesn't just sound big, it's mathematically absurd. It's an impossible number, and it really seems like Zuckerberg was just hoping nobody would bother to check the math.
And just look at this chart. It lays out the problem perfectly. At the time this all happened, Meta's entire value as a company was somewhere around $295 billion. He promised to invest more than double what his entire company was worth. It's kind of like having $100 in your bank account and promising to buy a $200 car. The math just, it doesn't work.
And to really wrap your head around just how insane that number is, think about this. For $600 billion, you could buy Disney, Netflix, and McDonald's, all of them, combined. You could fund all of NASA for the next quarter century. It is a truly mind-boggling amount of money that has absolutely no connection to Meta's financial reality.
All right, let's move on to the aftermath. Because what happens next is this incredible split. This one whispered comment creates two completely opposite shockwaves. On one side, you have Wall Street in a serious financial panic, and on the other, you've got the internet just having an absolute field day.
Yeah, investors were not laughing. Not at all. The market's reaction was fast and brutal, with Meta stock taking a really noticeable hit. You had traders and shareholders all asking the same question. If the CEO is just inventing 12-figure investment plans on the spot, what other numbers are they just making up?
As one analyst put it, investor confidence had taken a serious knock. You know, the problem wasn't just about one bad promise. It completely eroded trust. It suggested a level of recklessness at the very top that makes anyone with money in the game extremely nervous.
But at the exact same time investors were worrying, social media did what social media does best. The clip of that cringeworthy moment was shared and reshared, and it just turned into this massive viral sensation almost instantly. I mean, the blunder was just too relatable and too absurd to ignore.
And oh man, the memes were just ruthless. You had gems like Zuckerberg using the same math as my diet plans going viral, because it just hit so perfectly. The idea of a billionaire CEO turning to the president and basically asking, was that the right answer, became the punchline for, well, all of corporate strategy.
But okay, beyond the memes and the market jitters, this whole incident is actually a pretty fascinating window into some much bigger things going on with power, politics, and the tech industry today. What we're seeing here is a perfect, almost cartoonish example of big tech's desperate scramble for political favor. I mean, that decision to announce a $600 billion investment clearly wasn't based on any business plan. It was pure theater, a grand gesture designed to tell a powerful politician exactly what he wanted to hear. So, if you're an investor watching all this unfold, it presents a very clear dilemma, right?
On the one hand, the risk is obvious. A CEO improvising on this scale, it points to potential chaos and really bad governance. But then there's the other side, the opportunity. Markets often freak out and overreact to PR disasters, and for a patient investor, that temporary dip can be a real buying opportunity.
When you boil it all down, this whole thing pulls back the curtain on corporate power. It's just a stark reminder that behind all the polished press releases and the 5-year plans, sometimes the people in charge are just guessing. They're just winging it and hoping they get away with it.
And that leaves us with one last, kind of provocative thought to chew on. If a CEO can invent a $500 billion plan on the spot just to please a politician, it forces you to ask a much bigger question. Who is actually in control here? And how fragile is the leadership of these massive, world-changing companies really?